What does a guitar tech carry every day on the road? Like, screwdrivers, strings. What do you got? Do you have like
Yeah,
a pouch?
yeah.
What do you
Well,
got?
uh, depends on the gig, really. If you're fortunate enough to be on a tour with a semi, and you can bring your workbox, the multiple drawers that has everything you need, then great. Otherwise, you're forced to do the travel Pelican, routine, and strip it down to your basic necessities. And I guess what are those necessities? Well, you need a string winder.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like basic, and nothing worse than having to turn those tuning pegs by hand, right? So you need to have a string winder, that little tool, and a good pair of cutters, wire cutters. Nothing worse than having those strings all looped up around the headstock. You want to trim them down nice and tight. And a good tuner. You don't have to have the best tuner in the world. A lot of guys still use Boss tuners on their pedal boards on stage, so if that's the case, you might as well use the same one they're using, right? So it's just like kind of whatever works for you. Soldering iron is good to have. Doesn't have to be a fancy expensive one. It's just even the single one without the gauge, you can plug straight into an outlet and heat up and solder some guitar cables. That's always handy because there's always shorts happening on patch cables, guitar cables. So if you have that, that's a good start. You can do a lot of setups, with your feel and your eyes. So I don't think you need all the gauges and all that stuff unless you're really getting into some serious repair work. But if you start with that, I think that's a good place to start. Good pair of wire cutters, a string winder, and a tuner. Polish, some string polish, and a nice cloth. Is good to have. What else? Light, headlamp. I want a headlamp, and a magnifying glass is always good too.
Yeah, I didn't
I can keep going, but this is a good place to start. You can really get in there and see things with a magnifying glass that you can't see with regular readers. If you're going to do any kind of nut work or nut polishing, you can really get in there and see those grooves with the magnifying glass. But yeah, screwdriver, obviously, Allen wrenches for adjusting some truss rods. Those are always handy. But you don't need a whole lot, to do a good job and set up a guitar nicely. If you have some experience and kind of know what spots to adjust, what knobs to turn, and screws to tighten, so to speak.
Thanks for watching Untitled Interview. If you liked the conversation you just watched, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested, there's lots more just like that right here.